Everyone, and thank you for joining us on the program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Just about 1 month day before the end of the year. Compliments of the season to you. Well, there are quite a lot of things we're looking forward to in the new year, one of which is the general election to decide who the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be. However, pre- and post-election litigations continue to characterize our electoral process in Nigeria. And indeed, the Ekiti election, which held earlier this year, wasn't an exception. Just yesterday, the Election Petition Tribunal upheld the election of Governor Biodun Oyebanji of Ekiti State and his deputy Monisade Afuye. The tribunal says the petition by Sheguni of the SDP against the election of the governor quote, failed woefully, head or tail, end quote. In his petition, you recall that Shegoni had claimed that the election was characterized by irregularities. He also argued that it was wrong for the APC caretaker committee headed by Yobe State Governor Mai Malabuni to have supervised the primary election process that led to Mr. Oyebanji's emergence as APC candidate. The tribunal arrived at yesterday's judgment as the 180 days electoral act within which it is to hear the petition was expected to lapse on the 2nd day of January 2023. Our Ekiti State correspondent Ayomide Ajayegwe covered the story, and we possibly should begin with that report this morning.
The road leading to the court premises was filled with both APC and SDP party supporters. The application before the court is to decide whether Biodun Oyebanji is qualified to vie for the position and whether the certificate presented by the deputy governor was valid, among other issues. The tribunal determined that the validity of the certificate of Monisade Afuye remains unchallenged, as the petitioners were unable to prove that the 5th respondent presented a forged certificate. The tribunal also dismissed the issue of vote buying, stating that the appellant did not call any witness from any polling unit or ward. Responding to the proceeding, the lead counsel for the APC and its candidate Olawale Fakunda says there is no doubt that the Justice Wilfred Nkoti-led judgment was well projected.
It was fair, it was balanced, and it affirmed existing authorities, particularly those that have been recently decided by the Supreme Court. But I think what is important to state is that we're all winners. I think the governor has never seen this as a us versus them issue.
In his own reaction, the counsel to the SDP and its candidate Owoseni Ajayi says they will challenge the judgment at the higher court.
We advise them to minimally rejoice over this matter because we are definitely going to appeal against it. And superior courts will touch areas that they deliberately left unattended to in this judgment.
The governor, who had just received some traditional rulers in his office, says he sees the tribunal victory as testament of the people's choice at the election and will reach out to the SDP candidate who he described as his political leader.
I hereby call on Ejina Shegoni to join hands with me to develop the states. He is my leader. I have absolute respect for him, and that respect has not diminished. So I'll be linking up with him so that we can work together. He was part and parcel of this party before, and I'm going to call him back to his former party.
Biodun Oyebanji was declared winner of the June 18 governorship election and has been affirmed so by the tribunal sitting in Ekiti. This means he can now settle down on the business of governance, even though the SDP says they will challenge this judgment in the higher court. Ayomide Ajayegbe, TVC News, Ekiti.
Let's turn to Ekiti this morning. Mojid Jamiu, journalist, executive editor, Upshot Media, is here with me in the studio. Good morning, and thank you for coming around.
Good morning, Ifemi, and good morning, Nigerians.
Segun Dikwe is the publicity secretary, All Progressives Congress in Ekiti State. He joins us via Zoom. Mr. Dikwe, good morning. Let's begin with you. Talk to us about the mood within your party this morning, aftermath the tribunal judgment yesterday, bearing in mind that the SDP Council says the APC should celebrate minimally.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead, Mr. Dipe, if you can hear me.
Good morning. It's a bright new day, and in Ekiti here, we are just in a joyous mood. We are celebrating. It appears as if we just went for the election and just won. May I say that the statement made by Barrister Mosheni Ajayi-san was made in the heat of the moment. I know that when they review what was the decision of the I know that tribunal now see that we are very, very strong, and they were painstaking coming out with the ruling. The case was not dismissed, rather it affirmed the victory of Governor Biodun Oyebanji. Three issues basically were treated, despite all the long narration. Three issues were treated, and then there were three resolutions, of course, that went with the treatment of the three issues. The first issue was whether the tribunal has a jurisdiction to handle the matter. The second was whether the governor and his deputies were duly elected, whether they were qualified to have represented our party. And the third one, of course, was the proof whether the plaintiff or the complainant had been able to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt that there was need to either cancel the election or declare Chief Shegun Oni the winner. Of course, in all the three, justice was done. In the first one, the tribunal said it has jurisdiction, considering the reliefs 2 and 4 that they sought, regards declaring the governor as deputy as not qualified. They said based on that, they have jurisdiction to hear the matter and dispense justice. The second one, which took a long, narration, a long time, due to the various points raised, various issues raised, as per the qualification of Governor Biodun to have signed the form of Biodun Oyebanji as the governorship candidate of APC, and then qualification or the paper qualification of the deputy governor. And of course, in the first place, that of Mimala Buni was mentioned and clearly stated as lame. That was the word used by the tribunal. That issue raised was lame. It cannot work. It has since been dispensed with at the Supreme Court. 1, 2, that it is the party itself, the electoral, the members of APC that actually elected their candidate and not Mimala Buni. So they sponsored. When you elect your candidate, you have sponsored him. So it's the people of Ekiti, the APC members in Ekiti that sponsored, that elected as their candidate, and not Mimala Buni that elected. And having done that, they also told them that the tribunal even lacked jurisdiction in the first place to listen to such a lame issue that was raised. And as to whether they've been able to prove their issues, their points beyond reasonable doubt, it was clearly stated that they were unable to prove. Out of 100%, they could not prove 100%. And that matter was worse. However, it could have been a disaster or a sad situation in Ekiti yesterday if the decision had gone the other way. But if you look at the joy, the euphoria, the excitement that everybody came up with yesterday in Ekiti, you think that the election was just won by Bao. But we assure you that it's a victory for all, even including the Shegun Oni and the SDPT.
You seem to have run us through the summary of that judgment yesterday. They say you're not yet governor until you have passed the tribunal test post-election. But how much of a threat was the Shegun Oni petition, considering the figures from that election? I think the APC had led with over 100,000 votes.
Yeah, you see, Nifemi, this is where Segun Oni, you see the way, Segun Dikpe, the two of them are both Segun. Segun Dikpe is the PRO of APC, but he's not speaking as the PRO. He is actually a lawyer. So you can see the way he was dissecting the judgment. Now, lawyers like Segun Dikpe, and look at Barrister Osheni, he said APC should not rejoice, that they should rejoice minimally. Now, lawyers are wicked people. I'm sorry to say.
Including Segun Dikpe.
Including Segun Dikpe, the PRO of APC. They are very wicked. Now, let us go back to the basics. The election was conducted in June, I think June 18, and the result was declared. That was where INEC actually started testing its beavers. Beavers went live with Ekiti election. And APC, Bao, scored 187,057 votes. Segun Oni of the PDP came a distant second with 82,000, more than 100,000 difference. And that is not the story. The story is that Segun Oni did not win in a single local government out of 16, whereas the incumbent won in 15 of the 16 local governments. And I think Nigerians should follow this narrative. Now, the third candidate, PDP, won his local government in Efon by as much as 6,000 votes, where Segun Oni scored only 339. Bao even came second with 4,000 votes in Efon, the PDP candidates, whereas in Idosi, that popular Idosi, where PDP used to score 15,000, and other parties will score 0. Segun Oni lost his local government to this incumbent. So I wonder on which premise or on which basis Barrister Osheni Ajayi led Segun Oni to that tribunal. I don't know what they wanted to achieve. Now, put that result aside. You said the deputy governor didn't on the pages of newspapers to court and tell us to go and verify for you that it is WAEC that can confirm whether a result was forged or not, that the result was issued by WAEC and that WAEC confirmed it. So that fell flat on their face. And the court also told them that my Malabuni, just like Segun Dikpe said, only signed the notice which transferred the name of the candidate of the party to INEC. It's not as if it was Buni that shows the candidates Biodun Oyebanji and the deputy Monisa Afuye for the people of Ekiti. So Buni was just a mere conveyor that, not the party. So he said the Supreme Court was very clear on that. In the case of the Arakuni, Ejita Ojegere of PDP also went to court in a similar matter to challenge the nomination of Arakuni, the governor of Ondo State. So the Supreme Court was very clear on the matter. So that matter had already been decided. So, and on several other cases, and I wonder how somebody would still want to lead Engineer Segun Oni to court at the age of 67 to go and challenge this kind of result. Well, honestly,
we're following the position of the SDP on this matter. Segun Oni has rejected the tribunal judgment, saying the tribunal overlooked very important pronouncements by the Supreme Court in reaching its conclusion. Perhaps Mr. Dikpe can help us. Mr. Oni's spokesman, Jackson Adebayo, did not mention precisely the Supreme Court decision he was referencing here, but the SDP is saying that this judgment is unfortunate. It is not good for our democracy. And I'm quoting him now, we're going on appeal, hopeful that we will get justice at the end of the day. Contrary to what the incumbent governor said, extending an olive branch to the SDP gubernatorial candidate. Is that just what incumbent governors say, Mr. Dikpe, or do you think that the governor really is going to reach out to Sheguni on this matter? Mr. Deeper, can you still hear me? Oh, can you kindly unmute your device so we can hear you, Mr. Deeper?
Yes, and yes, the governor, Biodun Oyebanji, will definitely reach out to Chief Sheguni. Of course, that is the beauty of democracy. And if you know Biodun Oyebanji, it's not just, he has gone beyond being a politician or mere human being. In Ekiti, today is a phenomenon. It's an institution for democracy and politicking, right politicking in Ekiti. So by and large, he will definitely reach out to Governor Sheguni. Just like I said the other time, the reaction was what we call a heat of the moment or heat of passion. It was made based on the immediacy of the judgment. And we understand as human beings, and money has been spent on in prosecuting the case. So by and large, they may want to say that these are our first reaction. But I believe that consultation will go on. We want to be magnanimous as much as possible in victory. We don't want to flog anybody over this matter. We want to believe that the tribunal has done enough justice. They've been painstaking. They've taken their time to treat every issue that came. And by and large, they started removing the blocks until the whole situation went flat to its foundation. We rather believe that our man, Chief Sheguni, will allow sanity to prevail, and we allow the voice of the people to count in Ekiti today. The voice of the people today is that Bao should continue in government and should continue to govern us. If anything to the contrary had happened, it would have amounted to disaster. And we thank God that justice was not only done, it was seen as done in Ekiti. So if they want to proceed to an appellate court, we can only wish them well, but we know that just like Yorubas will say, if you throw a knife up and it lands on the floor 100 times, it will only lie flat. There will not be anything to the contrary at the appeal court and at the Supreme Court. So we would rather that this money is judicially used than being wasted on a legal tussle, which we end nowhere.
Indeed. I'll return to you shortly, Mr. Dipe, but it is still within the rights of the SDP and its candidate to appeal this judgment and to see it through. However, there's a Yoruba saying that says, we don't go to court and return as friends. Are you optimistic about, because some people put it as simply as the governor just put in a call and say, hey, bon, we are together, let's resolve this matter. I mean, we were party members at some point. Is it going to be as easy as that?
No, you see, we are lucky in Ekiti to have a set of Omoluabis as governors, including Engineer Sheguni, who was quote unquote a governor at the time. And the present governor is an Omoluabi personified, an homeboy in the real sense of it. After Otumba Niyi Adebayo, then we had Kayode Fayemi, who just left, and now Biodun Oyebanji. See, just 2 weeks ago, he won at the Supreme Court against another aspirant in the party, Engineer Kayode Ojo. And you know what Oyebanji did? He left Ekiti, went to Kayode Ojo in Abuja to go and greet him. Say, Egbon, we are members of this party. Let's come back. I mean, we have now the case has been settled at the Supreme Court. I see him doing the same. You know, you heard him saying that. I mean, even calling on, I mean, that clip that was played, calling on Engineer Sheguni to come back home. But you see, politicians are incurable optimists. And as long as they listen to lawyers, they will continue to have that hope. I have a lawyer friend, a senior lawyer friend like that. He told me one day, he said, MJ, if you put a basket on the ground. We all know that a basket cannot hold water, and you are pouring water inside that basket. A lawyer, I mean, tell a lawyer, you ask a lawyer, this basket, can it be full the way it's going? We are both looking at the basket. We know a basket cannot hold water. And you think that the basket will be full, and you say we'll be pouring water. The lawyer will tell you, let's try. I mean, maybe for a politician, if you think that that basket cannot hold water, why take it to the lawyer to advise you in the first instance? So a lawyer will always tell you to try. Because you see lawyers defending armed robbers, defending kidnappers, defending all manners of people. Well, that's their job. But it is for you to use your discretion to know what is right from what is wrong. You lost an election with more than 100,000 votes. 0 in 16 local governments. You didn't win any local government, and people are urging you on. I mean, you came with the flimsy excuse that it was not. I mean, you are looking for technicalities to win when the people rejected you, and you still want to continue to the appellate court. I can only wish you good luck. But as journalists, it's almost clear. I think we need also to understand here that for Engineer Segun, it started with the PDP, failed to win the candidacy of the PDP, came to APC. In 2018, he was defeated by Kayode Fayemi at the governorship primary by almost 1,000 votes. He didn't score up to half. He scored less than 400 delegates. Immediately he lost, he went back to PDP. In 2020, between 2018 and 2022, he was in PDP. Shortly before the 2022 election, when the Fauci group smoked him out of PDP, then he went to, at a point, he went to ABGA before going to SDP. At SDP now, he took some people to SDP. So there's no way you had a divided PDP in Ekiti, and you want to face an APC that is the ruling party. So that's why for the first time in Ekiti politics, you had the APC returning back to power, back to back. That's the first time it's happening in Ekiti since 1999. So for Segun Oni, I think the dilemma we will face today is whether to come back to the APC and queue, or to go back to PDP. The 2023 elections is just about 2 months away, and I learned that the PDP is with him, but how can you be in court for the SDP and be campaigning for the PDP? That's the dilemma I learned is facing. Just like Akin Oshintokun of the Labour Party, who has to jettison his position as a senatorial candidate of the Zenith Labour Party in the Ekiti State.
Well, he said he wasn't actively pursuing that.
His name, as at this morning, his name, Akin Oshintokun, is still the senatorial candidate on ZLP in Ekiti for the 2023 election. So, but he said he has a higher calling in being the spokesperson of the Labour Party. That's why it's Johnny Obi. That's just an aside to tell you that politicians could be funny. So, and that they are incurable optimists. And I feel very sad for Engineer Segun Oni, who we see as a leader, as an Omoluabi, that, I mean, he should just have allowed the will of the people of Ekiti to prevail. I mean, it was clear. This was not an election that was close. It's not like a 5,000 difference or a 2,000 difference. We are talking of a difference of 105,000.
Mr. Dipa, let's take a second look at the tribunal judgment summary that you talked about some moments. Childish and immature that the petitioners challenged the nomination because of May Malabuni signing the letter. But in the same breath, the judgment also says, at any rate, the tribunal lacks jurisdiction to inquire into internal affairs of the party. Could this be what the opposition is pursuing? And do you think that the Jegede versus INEC case completely finalized the caretaker committee and the caretaker chairman's position during the pre-election matters?
Thank you. If you read the judgment, or if you have access to the summary of the judgment, you will realize that the tribunal itself made mention that technically it would have dismissed all the matter itself, the case itself. But because it's the lowest court to listen to this and it's aware that they are likely to go to take it up higher to appellate courts, they have decided not to dismiss it at the level of technicality, but to allow and to treat all issues, especially reliefs 2 and 4. That is why it is possible for it to say first, we lack jurisdiction, and that is technical. And second, even if we don't lack jurisdiction, this matter has been dispensed with at the Supreme Court. In the case of Jegede and Akeredolu, that has been dispensed with. It's been treated that is the party that nominated the candidate and not Malime Malambuni that nominated the candidate. So they've treated it both technically and substantively. They've treated it on both sides to say that if we have to look at the technical aspect, we lack jurisdiction. But if we ignore that and we have to take it from the substantive aspect, assuming we have the jurisdiction, this case is lame, L-A-M-E. It cannot work, it cannot move, it cannot fly because it's been dispensed with. There is what we call stare decisis. The decision of the highest court of the land on it is still there and nobody can change that. And if you go back to that court, they will refer you to the decision of Jegede and Akeredolu. But like that is what happened. So if they take it substantively to higher court, they will now, nobody will blame the the tribunal, which is the lowest court, that they've not done justice to the substantive aspect of the case, and they've only trashed it on the basis of technicalities. I think that is what they are trying to tell them. That's what they made them to realize. And like I said, the reaction from the SDP Shegun inside is still in the heat of the moment. I strongly believe that when they now go and study the outcome, when they study the judgment, they will now discover that there are a lot of loopholes that cannot be easily filled in that case, that this case is dead on arrival, even before they take off. And just like my brother Mujib Jamil has said, he has taken a starting position on lawyers. Lawyers are like doctors. If you go to court with a stomach problem and you are told that, look, this thing can go away over time, I say, no, the way I'm feeling, I really want treatment, I want drugs. Doctors will give you drugs, and doctor will treat you. There are even instances that doctor will just give you drips with water alone, just to give you that psychological relief. So when a client has come to a lawyer, you will not say there is no case in this matter. You will advise him on all sides. And the final decision is that of the client. Look at what Barrister Wosheni said, that they will review. When they review, whatever he might have said there, the whole thing, the decision lies with Chief Shegun to either continue with the case or to allow peace to rest and peace to reign.
Indeed, Mr. Dikpe, I knew he was coming for you with your allegation against lawyers. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll open the phone lines for contributions. Also, remember, you can use the hashtag ThisMorningTVC on Twitter. Stay with us.
Never miss a moment. Anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. I am Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria and the world at large on the show, Issues with Jide.
Thank Thanks for staying with us. Majid Jamiu, journalist, executive editor, Upshot Media, Shegun Dipe, publicity secretary, All Progressives Congress, Ekiti State, are both joining me to discuss some updates from the Ekiti governorship election, with the tribunal now affirming the victory of the incumbent government. A lot of appeal are also coming in from the APC camp. The latest is from the senior special assistant to the Ekiti State Governor's Special Duties, Honorable Lufemi Joshua Deluju, who's also urged the Social Democratic Party governorship candidate to accept the verdict of the Election Petition Tribunal in good faith. We'll see how all of this will play out in the coming days, and whether or not the SDP will match its words with action about appealing the tribunal judgment. But I'd like us to quickly talk about the weight of post-election litigation that governors have to face. Before the election, we're in court. After the election, we're in court. And you hear a lot of people say, okay, perhaps now government can now face the business of governance. I don't think, okay, I'm told we have a call. Just before you answer to that, Reverend Dominic has called in from Alimosho. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, Femi. Good morning, Majid.
Good morning.
Happy compliment of seasons.
Same to you.
Yeah, Majid, let me tell you a story, a short story. What is happening in Ekiti is exactly what happened in Imo State, my state. Remember the election that brought in the incumbent now? He came to distant third. It was PDP first, according to INEC. The governor, the young man that contested under no chance of culture, came second. Now, AC came distant third without no local government at his side. We don't know why he wrote the results. And he went to court. He's the governor today. So what the man is doing in Ekiti, there's a precedent to it. Judiciary has done more harm to politics in Nigeria than any sector of the government. That's my word, Moji, that's my personal word. Judiciary have laid a wrong precedent in our politics since 1910, never before. A man wrote his own results and went to the tribunal. This will help him to become an INEC and count the result between three people. About 9 candidates was in that election in Imo State. The tribunal have to count the result between the man now in government in Imo State and PDP and what AC or AA. And let other political parties, ABGA, SDP, and they count that result in electoral law that brought in. When INEC declare election results, no other entity can declare that result. The Supreme Court declare their own result, and today, Imo is in tatters because of that result. That's why this man is pushing Ekiti. I saw the result, it's with me here. When you are analyzing that, go way back to that result. He didn't win any one local government. He come distant third. How come you are spending all this money in tribunal to cry out loud? And in this nation, that application will bring UK judiciary. They will disband that lawyer. Today, lawyers go to court with all kinds of applications, right, wrong, bad, and they go home. What I'm trying to say here, we need to do what is due, because it's possible before they get to Supreme Court will declare another result. It happened in Imo State. It may happen in Ekiti. God forbid. God born Nigerian.
Thank you, Reverend Dominic. Here, Reverend Dominic seems to be putting the blame on the lawyers for going to court, but the law gives room to anybody to contest the outcome of an election, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's good that Reverend Dominic actually raised this issue, but I think Ekiti is a bit different. There were some contending interests in Imo State, and the Supreme Court was able to look at the issues before coming to their conclusion. But I think that of Ekiti is very, very, significantly different. They are poles apart. And I doubt if the judiciary, I'm not speaking for them now, but I doubt if the judiciary would liken what happened in Ekiti to the scenario in Imo, because they are clearly different things. The person who came second in Imo jumped from one party to the other, which is similar to what even Shegun did. Shegun was in PDP a few months before the election, before moving to ABGA and now to SDP. because he couldn't get the tickets of those two parties. So, but in terms of, that's why I started by giving details on the results of the election so that people could understand that it was not a close call. It was not a close election. I mean, yes, it came second. Even if you aggregate the result of the SDP and the PDP that came second and third, the increment today would still have defeated the two of them combined. Because if you look at the SDP had 82,000, while the PDP scored 67,000. So if you aggregate the two, it's just about 149,000, whereas Biodun Oyebanji of the APC scored 187,000 votes. So it could still have won with a combination of the two parties that came second and third. So it's a very distinct matter from what happened in Imo.
Let me hold you briefly. Just hold that thought. Mazi Okurafa has called in from Arochukwu in Abia State. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Mr. Anderson. Good morning, again. You see, the Tribunal, what they have just said yesterday, is a welcome development. But what I want Nigerian judicial system to do is this. They should try as much as possible. Any case, they should try at least within 3 weeks, 1 month, they should decide the whole case. But this issue of delay, the lawyers will go there, adjournment, lawyers will go with all this, the complicated, it doesn't make sense. Now, the SDP man, I will advise him, instead of him taking this money to go and say he's going to appeal and his lawyer, I will just let it. It's what we call sportsmanship. Sportsmanship everywhere. Absorb it, because even though you go for the court has showed all these things, everything around the circle and present to you, while putting yourself moving forward. And sit down. Start preparing for another 4 years. That is what they call sportsmanship. You think ahead. That's what we focus. Not that somebody will come and say, hey, from so local government, from so what, you don't die yourself. But people are looking for how to grab from one means to another to do what they reach their pocket. At the detriment of the SDP people, sit down, think ahead, think what will happen in 4 years' time. Finish. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you, my father, and everybody in the studio. I'm audible.
Thank you, Mazi, for your contribution. You were saying that the issue in Imo is quite different from the one in Ekiti.
Yes. Just like Mazi also said, like I said earlier, rather than pursue some fruitless litigation, I think Engineer Shegoni, who is also an Omoluabi of Ekiti, should embrace peace and probably just congratulate the incumbent, because I see no reason why he should continue to listen to those lawyers. And like Shegun Dipe, who is also a lawyer, said, doctors are like lawyers. Lawyers are like doctors. When even they know that a patient has no hope, they'll say, go and bring 4 pints of blood. So it is for the relatives of the patient to know that there is no hope in this matter. They should they should go and help him, assist him to prepare his will and plan a befitting funeral. So I think that's what I feel Engineer Shegun Oni should do here, because it's a case that cannot stand on any leg. From my own layman's view and as a journalist, talking on this, I mean, from the summary of what the tribunal said yesterday, the CTC is not yet out, the certified 2 copies of the journal, but then we have summary of what happened. I mean, they said it is WAEC that can say Afuye has represented a fourth certificate, not from what we read in pages of newspapers. Let
me quickly hear from Mr. Dikpe. You're wearing 2 caps this morning, first as a lawyer and then as a spokesperson of the APC in Ekiti State. So the Electoral Act has given a 180-day limit so as to fast-track matters at the tribunal. But what is your reaction as to how much distraction this prolonged litigation, if it goes to the appeal Court and then the Supreme Court, how much distraction is bringing to the incumbent governor? Some would say, well, he has counsels like yourself and his legal team to deal with that. What are your thoughts about this?
Let me say, as as a citizen of Ekiti, and as somebody who is involved, that it's no doubt a distraction, not to governance really, but to the political system in Ekiti, that we still have an engineer Segun Oni in court. It's not something that we are happy about. Ekiti. We need everybody, we need all hands on deck to move Ekiti forward. We are not as rich as Lagos or Port Harcourt or Kano, Lagos or Rivers or Kano or Kaduna, or even as some states in the East. We are lean in resources, and when such a thing is happening and capable of dividing us, dividing our interests, it's not something we find funny or find laughable or something we want to have today. We would rather have a Segun Oni allowing sanity to prevail at this point and coming to join hands with Governor Biodun Oyebanji to move the state forward. He is no doubt an entity, he's a factor in Ekiti, and if we know that he's with us, we'll be happy. However, that's not to say that it is a continuation of the legal matters can disrupt governance or can disrupt anything. If at all it will affect him, I dare say that, his political future, it will affect him, and it will tell on the way that his political career is coming to an end. We would rather we allow sanity to prevail at this point, and rather that all hands are put on deck, rather than somebody of his stature being in court over a matter that even the lame person, even a layman can anticipate, can predict where it will end. So that's by and large is the issue.
Indeed, but you agree with me that no matter how you see it or your party sees this case, with one option to reach out to him and appeal to perhaps all of the senses that you have highlighted in the course of this conversation.
Yes, one thing is to have a right, another thing is to allow reasons to prevail. All of us have rights for one reason or the other to go to court or to take up legal issue against one another. But we must allow reasoning and sanity to prevail at every point in time. It's not about right, it's about what is good enough for the people of the state and what is good enough for him as a leader in the state. Otherwise, everybody has a right to do what he thinks is legally possible. What is legally admissible may not be admissible morally. And that area is what I think Engineer Segun Oni, that is the path I think he should take. He should look at the moral aspect. He should be conscious of his political trajectory. He should be concerned about his position in Ekiti State. And because of that, he should follow the path of honor and not that of dishonor.
The presidential election, Mr. Jami, is just a few weeks from now. And many are saying that perhaps the political calculation is going to change the dynamics of things in the coming days. We have seen the body language of past governors in Ekiti and the candidate there that they are looking forward to supporting this election. Do you think that perhaps that will take the shine away from this threat of appeal coming from the SDP?
So that's why I said Engineer Segun Oni is in a serious dilemma here. Even the last PDP governor of Ekiti, Ayodele, it's with the integrity group, the G5, and he's saying that power must come to the south. and he has never hidden his love for the candidate of the APC. So Ekiti, if you look at all the opinion polls, Ekiti is going APC, presidential. Now, the incumbent in Ekiti is APC. SDP is not in this election presidential race. SDP is not in the calculation. We have 4 major contenders: APC, PDP, Labour, and NNDP. So SDP is not in the calculation. No, for Segun, that's why I said he's in the. You are in court as SDP candidate. How do you want to play? What game you would want to play in February?
Please hold that thought. Joseph has called in. Good morning, Joseph.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, please, I want to contribute to your program.
Go ahead, go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Okay. This on issue about Segun. Yeah, money. Yeah. Please, happy. Yeah, please. On the issue of Segun, I think Segun needs to just congratulate the incumbent governor, because I think we see it as a culture now in Nigeria that if somebody lost election and truly you know within yourself that you lost election, no need of going to court. What I just need is that the first have office to govern your people that you know. These people work with that incumbent governor or the winner of the election. Example, take a look at Jonathan and Buhari today. If me and you can tell the truth, within the hierarchy of APC, they cannot explain the relationship between Buhari and Jonathan today. If you should ask them, they cannot. Because before 2015, we did not see it like this. But today, we see Buhari and Jonathan as Aki and Popo. Some people are talking about Imo State, using Imo State as an example, using Ondo State as an example, then coming to Ekiti. My brother, even the MPA itself, they move us to the right, they move us to the left, they took us to the front and back. We that did not know anything about law, we are always confused. We did not even know the real part. They say they have to hold themselves, come together, and let us know where Nigeria is pushing to when it comes to times of election like this. As I'm talking to you, Ekiti, my brother, is very small. When it comes to the size, Ekiti is very small. During the time of fire share of Ekiti, it's just like my brother there first use this as an example, that this is the first time that APC will translate government to another. It happened in once. During the time of fire share, I was a student then in UNAD, University of Ekiti. Let me Segun need to just come back home and just present. It happened. I think if I'm not mistaken, it should be the only person that beat the incumbent governor twice in the APC. Their policies, you cannot use it to compare with others.
All right, Joseph, that's your time. Thank you so much for your contribution on the program. It again brings us to how far we are from the idea of the true idea of party ideology. The SDP may not have been on the ballot if Engineer Segun had gotten the PDP ticket prior to the election. And that's also happened on the national level, where parties begin to gain prominence because someone left because they were aggrieved from a bigger party. What is the relevance of all of this and its implication on our polity?
I think people should just believe in that party supremacy. In some instances, yes, you might want to prove a point and use your, like what Peter Obi did in Anambra, and which APGA is still doing in Anambra. But that has only happened in one state out of 36. And the presidency is a bigger picture. It's individualism is still very difficult to win election. You need that platform, you need that structure. And that's why in Ekiti today, for example, it's difficult for a Segun to lead the campaign of the presidential candidate of the PDP, of the SDP in Ekiti. It is very difficult because it's like pouring water into the lagoon. When you have strong contenders like APC and PDP as presidential candidates.
And the Labour Party?
Well, in Ekiti, I'm a journalist, and I don't think Labour Party stand any chance in Ekiti. They have had to postpone their rally several times. But beyond that, I think they should allow Biodun Abayomi. I'm a stakeholder in Ekiti today. They should allow Biodun Abayomi Oyebanji to continue on the projects started by Fayemi, especially the airport. When people like my friend BKO, Kola Babajide Otitoju, if he wants to go to Kogi, he'll fly and drop at Ekiti. You know, where that airport is located, it's just 1.5 hours by road to Ekeniade, where we'll be doing his father's coronation very soon. So, Shegun should allow.
We have to go now. Mr. Deepa, let me get your final thoughts on this conversation. Mr. Deepa, are you there?
Yeah, thank you very much. My final thought is that the people have decided and the court has decided. We should allow sanity to prevail and let us declare everybody the winner. Ekiti will be better for that than chasing the shadow and trying to reduce the little that we have. We don't have so many human resources, and the little we have, we will definitely hold them in high esteem. And Engineer Shegun Oni is one of them. We won't like him to fight like a bull in the China's shop. You should please come back home and let us salvage the situation together.
Shegun Dikpe, Publicity Secretary, All Progressives Congress, Ekiti State. Moji Jamiu, journalist, executive editor, Upshot Media. Gentlemen, thank you for joining the conversation this morning. That's our show. A big thank you, everyone, for being a part of this morning since January up till now. On behalf of Onkiyori, Folari, and the entire production crew, we're saying a big thank you. I'll see you on the other side of 2023. Compliments of the season.
Men do not like overconfident women.
Don't touch me without my permission.
I'm a playful guy, and I